Hello and welcome back to SummoNerds. I'm Evan.
And I'm Matt.
Today we've got a cool one for you. We're previewing some new decks. So this time I'm playing Malenatar and Killercactus, back with another guest appearance.
Game 2.
Yeah, is playing Saturos. So giving him another chance to come back and beat the SummoNerds. Mm-hmm. This time it's me though, and we've never played before on the channel, so get some exciting game. I hope. Really. Aptly described earlier on the thread, on the channel thread, as brutal. It's a very brutal game. Mm-hmm. So unfortunately, the way we filmed it, you can't see Casey's hand. This was kind of impromptu. The way we did this, it was kind of we talked about it, and then later that night filmed it. So I didn't have the time to set up the way we would normally film it.
Mm-hmm. And I was actually spectating this game. I just wanted to be clear that I fixed Evan's aspirant there. It was the wrong spot.
I had the wrong setup because I didn't have the starting setups at that point. I was going up someone's description of them. So, and then Joe actually will eventually show up in this one. He shows up towards the end to spectate as well. So he gets a little appearance. But all right. So starting off the game, I've got a nice aggressive opening, and I kill the. He's got swordsman standing in for Shadow Warriors because his module didn't have the Shadow Warrior card for whatever reason. So
in the Shadow Warriors, if we're familiar with the previews, they have I believe the ability is called Blood Step. I might have made that up. That just seems
that fit.
Fits very well. So they can they can move next to something with a wound on it first, and then take their normal movement. Yep. So they get placed next to something with a wound on it, Shadow Elf unit that has some kind of wounds on it, and then they can move after that. So they have incredible reach.
Yes, they do, and they can be used to block really effectively if you need to get Saturos out of the way, because they can step in front of Saturos when he's in a tight spot.
Yep. So Casey thinking he can blood summon for a second, but
I was checking to make sure he didn't use Greater Blood Summon this turn or something, but he did not. So. Right. So here we go. He'll fix that in a second. He's saying funny things in the chat if you can read that.
And I'm laughing hysterically in the.
I was really excited for this when we first saw the decks starting to be previewed. This matchup was really the one I was most excited for, just because it really looks like it's going to be a slugfest. That's definitely how this game goes. I don't know that it will always, go quite the way this game goes. Once we have lots of people start playing this matchup in particular. Mm-hmm.
These are two of the previews I was most excited about from the get-go.
These are my two favorites.
I just love, but I'm a huge fan of Saturos, and I really also like Malenatar a lot. I just like the Vargath theme. So it's such a great, it's just a bash 'em matchup. Everybody just gets up there and wails on each other, and it's really exciting.
So you can see my hand here. I've got Vard in there in my first hand, a fun champion. I'm hoping to use him. And then 3 commons, one of each common, and then Unify, easily my favorite event in this deck. Unify can just set up the craziest turns. I am about to do something slightly wrong on this turn, which I discovered was wrong later. I'll go ahead and say it now. So the Aspirant moves, and then moves the Commander with its ability Encourage, which makes total sense. I haven't done anything wrong yet. But then what I'm going to do here is move Malenatar up and use his ability. His ability is within 3 spaces, so that I'm good there to move the Aspirant again. But it is the Aspirant's ability is worded when you move with this Aspirant, not when you move the Aspirant. So because it's Malenatar's ability moving the Aspirant, I actually can't use Encourage again like I just did. I could have just discarded another card with Malenatar and moved the Commander to the same spot. Mm-hmm. So ultimately, it's not as though this turn was, as illegal as it could have been, or would have. I would have probably just done that, and so I would be 1 card out of my hand down, but it wouldn't have made a drastic impact on the game.
Yeah. Now I believe
it's worth noting for sure.
I believe that turn was a slight misplay from you, Evan, because there was because of a card like Revenge that can just kill it after it kills the attacking unit. I was thinking we should just wail on Saturos that turn, or
Yeah.
at least use the first attack on Saturos, and
Yep.
then do it on the other unit so we can get some wounds on him.
I agree. That probably would have been better. Vanquish was still, I mean, a possibility as well.
Vanquish can't be used from that position because your unit was on his side.
You're right. Never mind. Yeah. Well, I should have definitely attacked Saturos first then.
Yeah.
But I wasn't thinking about revenge very much at all this game, which you'll see later. I just wasn't considering that as an option most of the game. So I was more worried about Vanquish, which I'd forgotten. Yeah, you can't use if my unit's on his side of the field, and Greater Blood Summon, and of course the movement. Shoot, what's it called? Relentless Advance. Mm-hmm. That is terrifying. That card is so scary to play against.
Yep.
So I was hoping my formation would just be tight enough to keep Malenatar mostly safe. So Greater Blood Summon goes down. He's hoping to kill my commander here with Saturos. And Blood Summon probably a Blood Drake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the idea...
Ooh, but he misses with the 3 dice, so he only gets 1. Mm-hmm. And then the Vindicator still gets the commander. So 1 less die on Malenatar than he should have. But because he used Greater Blood Summon, the Vindicator still gets to Blood Summon.
Now, the Vindicator should get another attack here.
He moved this turn.
Oh,
he
right,
summoned
right,
this turn
right,
and then moved. Yeah.
I remember actually thinking that at the time and then realizing it had moved. It all came back to me, and I made the same mistake again rewatching the turn.
So he does get the Blood Drake out, and he does get a couple hits on Malenatar, which I couldn't do anything about. So I might have moved Malenatar a little out of position there. It's hard to know. I was just hoping to be more aggressive than him this game. I did some goofy things with moving my entire deck by mistake.
I do that same thing all the time.
Vassal is very hard on my computer, and
it's
so I go ahead. I've got Onslaught now and Unify, so I could use that. I could use Unify and Onslaught to give Malenatar an attack here, but that would be using 2 really strong events. And if I don't have any other reason for it than that one move, I probably should hold on to at least one of those. But what I because I didn't have anything else to summon besides a guard, I could have afforded, I guess, Varden. But this is not a great position for Varden. I couldn't have really done much with him. Yeah. I figured the guard would be better for now. And Varden, what I really want is to just summon him and get like 5 dice ranged right on Saturos. That was my goal.
Mm-hmm. Especially if he comes out now and did kill something, there's always the revenge possibility that now he's down to 3 health all of a sudden.
Yep. And so now Unify goes down, which is great. So I've got my guard set up near Malenatar, and what I'm hoping to do here is just keep... Well, I'm about to set him up near Malenatar. To keep Malenatar in range of the guard, and if that happens, then the guard actually uses lesser cover on Malenatar because of Unify. Mm-hmm. So you can keep Malenatar safe even when he's up deep in enemy territory with that card. And then I use Superior Execution mostly to draw a card this turn. That was actually, I just kind of wanted to see what I'd get. But also thinking that I would move my guard this turn, and I didn't want to discard either Varden or Onslaught.
Right.
So I went ahead and just...
Yeah, Superior Execution is interesting too. If you're not going to discard your whole hand, then it's there's some... You can kind of pick and choose which cards you want your opponent to see and which ones you don't.
So because I had the Aspirant here, I discarded that from my hand because I didn't want him to know I had an Onslaught in my hand. Of course, he should always be playing as if I have an Onslaught in my hand, but I didn't want him to know for sure because then he can formulate a turn around it. But of course, that Aspirant will come back to my hand at the end of the turn because of Superior Execution. And yes, and then Malenatar's ability has such amazing range.
I thought at that time I thought that Malenatar's ability was only 2 spaces.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it says that on this card or not, or if it was just hard to read, or if it's just been corrected for the previews.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure, but it's definitely now 2 spaces. And then I realized I did something wrong here.
No, it's 3 spaces now.
3 spaces now. It's definitely 2. No, it's definitely 3 spaces now. I did something wrong here with my the way I didn't pay for the guard, is I think what I'm realizing. So I had to put my discard back in the correct order.
Yeah, and on mine and Evan's computers, it's discarding the magic is the hardest thing for Vassal.
Thing.
For whatever reason, that
That and drawing
that
cards.
Position. Yeah, drawing to the hand. If we use the hand slots, if I just move it to the board, it's not as bad as moving magic over. It's similar, but
yep.
But I do really love Vassal. It's such a great way to.
Me too. I think it's amazing. It's just my particular computer seems to dislike it, so we'll see if that continues to be the case with future mods. Maybe it's just the mod that's rough on it. All right, so. I'm getting a lot of hits here. Killing the Blood Drake in one hit. I was just hoping to kill the Blood Drake this turn with those 3 dice. I didn't really care about the Vindicator, but I got a free die on it too. So.
Now, wounded units are scary if Saturos gets those out because of units like this. Not swordsmen, but Shadow Warriors. Yeah.
So he's going to get some more dice on Malenatar. Fortunately, my guard is sitting there, and hopefully will take some of these hits. The Vindicator missed both.
Yeah, so...
Yeah. Killercactus had some rough luck in the dice this game definitely. So far.
Because that was supposed to be a potential
4 to hit 3.
4 to hit 3 on the guard, and it just wasn't that turn. So here we got...
Yep.
Saturos only got 1.
And then I said Malenatar will take it, leaving my guard without the ability to be killed this turn.
Right.
So even if the Shadow Warrior were to hit both on
someone,
that's
probably going to go to the guard.
That goes to the guard.
Yep.
So guard's fine, Malenatar's fine for now, and I've got possible position. Depending on what I draw, I've got some positioning to be able to run up on Saturos himself. Varden, at the very least, can come out this turn if I want.
Yeah. So even though that turn did have some mediocre rolls, Malenatar does not look good here. He's got 3 wounds on him, and he's in way over his head.
Yep.
At this point, he's just got a lot of Shadow Elf units. Saturos himself completely unwounded.
And I was really hoping for different cards here. I wanted maybe a Superior Execution or an Aspirant or Unify again, or just a Superior Planning. But instead I got my second Onslaught, which I don't need, and no Unify. And I have Battle Procurement, which would have been great earlier in the game, but right now, at this exact moment, I don't need it.
Yeah.
So I decided Varden has to come out this turn because I can't really do anything else.
Not with a commander.
No, yeah, I can't. And a commander is expensive enough that if I played the commander, it'll be hard to get out Varden later.
Yeah. So.
And a commander gets revenged.
There's also
dies.
Zont just chilling in the discard pile down there.
Yeah.
That seems to be a common thing among the Shadow Elves. Keep your momentum going. Just get some of your own magic. If you're in a position like this, I'd have done the same thing. I'd have probably thrown out a champion to get my magic up there and keep the aggression on with Saturos himself.
Yep. Sometimes your commons are just more important in both of these decks than your champions. I find myself dropping champions when they aren't important for the moment. Kadros is awesome, but at 8 magic, if you can do better with summoning 3 common units, summon those 3 common units.
Yep. But situationally, I believe Kadros can have a maximum of 25 dice in a turn.
Something like that. It's a lot. So...
All four onslaught. Well, 2 onslaughts, 2 superior plannings, right? That's 20 plus his normal attack. 25 in 1 turn. Crazy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
He really is a champion of war.
Yeah, he is quite powerful and excellent. So I missed with onslaught, and now I'm playing another onslaught. They were in my hand, and I wanted the hand clog to go down.
Playing number 2.
Yeah, and I'm hoping to kill the Shadow Warrior, I believe, with them. Or, no, maybe the Vindicator. I can't remember which one I was attacking. Doesn't matter because I'm about to miss again. So, yep. And same play as before. Miss. So I just missed with the guard both times, which is fine. I've hit so many dice this game. And the 2 onslaughts were just in my hand. I had to get rid of them somehow. I could have maybe drop them as magic for Varden, but I was hoping to kill one of those units so that it would be easier to get Malenatar safe. And it would just clear up some spaces. Malenatar and Varden would be a little more safe. Maybe I could block off another side of Malenatar. So Mal kills the Vindicator, and the guard will try to kill this Shadow Warrior and misses. And this This is really important. This is really important because I was not thinking even a little bit about revenge this turn. And I don't know why, but oh my goodness, he has 5 magic. So if the revenge had gone down, the guard is dead. He easily has positioning on me for 2 sides, to hit me from 2 sides. One of those sides being Saturos, and the other side being something for 6 magic, like Sheik, who can hit for 4 dice. So potentially could have been 7 dice on Malenatar. And I just wasn't thinking about it, and the miss ended up really helping me more than it hurt me. So then I just hit all 4 with Varden on Saturos. So by discarding the rest of my hand. So that was with Battle Procurement also. One of those was Battle Procurement. So that's a little bit of a bummer for him, for sure.
So that was all 4 hits on Saturos and all 3 misses on the
Swordsman, or the Shadow Warrior,
so
which matters.
Were bad for
because if any of the onslaughts had hit too, if any of the onslaughts had hit, I still would have been in the same position where he would have had the magic to summon Sheik.
Yeah.
But at least if the onslaughts had hit, I might have been able to move Malenatar to a position where Sheik and Saturos both couldn't have hit him.
Yeah.
But that during my attack phase, I no longer had that privilege to move him out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
So, really, I moved the guard there specifically so that Saturos couldn't easily get a bunch of dice on Malenatar. He'd have to summon something else to kill the guard, wasting an attack on that, and then shoot with Saturos if he really wanted to hit me. Mm-hmm. But it worked out quite well in my favor that time. So now we have a Shadow Warrior. He's thinking if I get a Superior Planning or a Unify, I pretty much have infinite range with Varden to run up and shoot him with my final hand and just discard everything and get a bunch of hits for free.
A Unify, like if a Superior Planning came out for the Onslaught too, then just the discard for Varden to get down there. He has so much range to catch up to Saturos.
Well, and I have 0 cards in my hand, so I'm going to be drawing from 16. I've not used a single Superior Planning yet, and I still have a Unify just in there normally. So out of those 16, I'm pretty likely to get one of those 3 cards.
I was thinking... Oh, no, I was just thinking that when I was watching this game, I was like, oh, what could Relentless Advance do in this situation? And I was trying to picture... Saturos, I don't think he can quite gain the distance no matter where he moves to get
all the way around
to Malenatar's backside.
No, that was with a Shadow Warrior. It's possible under slightly different circumstances, but not right now. Actually,
he can.
He can exactly do that.
Yeah, he can do that.
But it would have meant Saturos isn't.
Oh no! Yeah, the way I had it was so Saturos and the Shadow Warrior could both get in position, and they can't.
Exactly. He could get the Shadow Warrior all the way around to the back, but it would mean Saturos is out of position, so he's not attacking anything that turn.
Right.
And that'd be not worth it.
Right. But what Relentless Advance does mean, just with this setup, is 5 for 4 on Malenatar.
Yes.
That's what it could do.
And wound on Saturos, so if he misses, then I've got a bunch of dice on him.
Yeah.
And Joe just came into the chat there, so...
Yeah.
So if you see Joe there, now you know why. He's trying to figure out, this is a very important turn for Saturos. Because of Blood Summon or Greater Blood Summon, he can definitely get some extra dice on Mal under the right conditions. But is it worth it? Because he has to get enough wounds on Malenatar to win this turn effectively, because if he lets it go the next turn, I've got really good odds. I think there's still a Superior Execution left in the deck even, and that allows me to draw an extra card. So if I draw that, but I don't draw any of the other things, I still have one more card to draw to maybe draw a Unify or a Superior Planning. So
and
so we're goofing off in the chat since he's thinking about this turn. It's taking a long time for him to figure it out because it's such an important play how he does it. This position,
if there was a Blood Drake involved, it'd be different.
Yeah.
I don't think
he had one in his hand, if I remember correctly. All he had was Sheik and the Shadow Warrior. So he's trying to figure out, how many cards am I drawing, or how do I have it in my hand already? So I said 0, which lets him know I don't have it, but I very easily could. This play isn't great looking because he needs to protect Saturos from next turn. He's trying to figure out if he can surround Malenatar with any more than 5 dice. And the answer, unfortunately, is not this turn. If he had hit the revenge, he could have had 7.
Yeah.
If I had hit him and he'd used revenge, he would have had 7 to hit 4.
Mm-hmm. And here comes Relentless Advance.
Yep.
One of my favorite events.
Yep.
I even think I would go out on a limb to say Relentless Advance is stronger doing a wound to Saturos than without, because a lot of the times he's not wounded, and then he gets that wound, allowing him to use Shadow Warriors immediately off of the Relentless Advance. So I'm a huge fan of that card in every sense.
So he hit exactly 1 short, if I remember correctly, and then Sheik. He rolled 2 as if it had been Sheik to see if he would have won, which we all do.
Yeah.
We all do that if we think we could have won with some other play.
Yep.
We want to be able to know if we would have won. Mm-hmm. So he didn't get the 5 to hit 4. Now I'm going to draw 5 cards and see what I get. I got Asa, 2 walls, and 2 commons. So I did not get any of the things that I could have had to win me the game if he had run away. Yeah. So it was very possible for him to run away either with Relentless Advance or just run away normally and possibly just survive the turn. I couldn't have got Varden into position, but it would have just been a matter of time before I eventually caught him. He would have had to do some serious wounds to Mal, and I would have needed to run away with Mal.
I'm making some dumb joke about that glitch on Evan's side about Varden being scared because he
I accidentally pulled him into my hand. Yeah. So yeah, this is just the extremely brutal way this ends. I attack with Malenatar into Saturos, and that's that.
Yep.
That's definitely not how it will always go in that fight. It just ended up being an extremely punch-happy battle.
Yeah, very, very swingy that game.
Yeah.
Still very cool to see what some of these units were capable of doing. Varden is a monster.
Absolutely.
Saturos, I love. Shadow Warriors. Pretty much going to put those in every Shadow Elf deck for sure.
Yep. Yep. So he definitely could have got some different dice there, and I could have got some different dice, and it could have gone differently. But that's just kind of the nature a little bit of this matchup, that they are just extremely aggressive decks. I think what Malenatar does well against Saturos is he gets on his side of the board, which is not what Saturos wants. And Saturos, of course, can break through the ranks that Malenatar surrounds himself with the blood summons.
Greater blood summon allows, and Saturos' high attack turns allow him to swing that board completely around turn per turn. It seems to be a constant reversal of who's got more units on the board currently.
Yep.
It's funny.
Well, thanks everybody for watching. We'll preview another one for you next week.
Yep. SummoNerds out.
See you next time.
Mm-hmm.